Hello, what's up? It's Guru Jojo, and this video I'm going to be speaking about how to overcome spiritual depression, aka the dark night of the soul, and also just like what it is. So basically, spiritual depression or the dark night of the soul, it's a point in time in someone's life where they experience extreme changes, extreme shifts. And I say extreme because these energies tend to happen all at one particular time. And this causes a person to have to really slow down in their life. So when we come here into this reality, which I call like 3D reality, basically, we come here with this code of karma, of karmic depths, basically. And there's different octaves of how these karmas end up playing out in our lives. There's some people who kind of just live a regular mundane type of lifestyle. Then you have your people that sort of shift between this mundane lifestyle and just being like curious of maybe like conspiracy theories or just some sort of alternative views upon how they should be living their life. And then there's the people who are a little bit more on the extreme side, and they may pretty much mostly reject the you could say they mostly reject mundane lifestyles, and they pretty much live life more on the extreme, more upon their beliefs, which may be alternative or something like that. And then there's the people who completely live alternative lifestyles. And the last two groups of people that I described, these are usually the people who undergo some sort of spiritual awakening, dark night of the soul, spiritual depression. So what usually happens is the karmic depths that they came here to pretty much clean up, right, to pay off, there comes a point in time in their life where the soul breaks down and these karmic depths become more heavy. It becomes more heavy. So basically what happens during this time is we get the opportunity to eclipse a karmic depth out of our life. And in order to overcome it, it can be overcame quite quickly. But the thing is that in order to do that, it all seems to come in at one time. And so it's almost like a complete sacrificing period of time. And the thing that you have to do is pretty much let go of what you were holding on to, that you were identifying with, and because it starts to shatter anyway. So do you get what I'm saying? It's like everything that you were holding on to, that you consider to be valuable, and things that gave value to you, it's for some reason it starts to lose its value. You can't get a hold of it anymore, or it's just outdated for some particular reason. And this causes extreme like discomfort for the person. And so I want to give some examples of how this usually some examples of how this would play out in reality. So this could be any type of situation where you may lose a job, you may be detached from loved ones like family for whatever reason. You may have to move, and it's usually abrupt. So sudden disruptions cause the person to have to move out for some particular reason. Another thing is a loved one dying, and then from this loved one dying, you're already going through it, but now on top of that, this disrupts a lot of the structure within the family, like the family security and whatnot. So then now you may have to take on those responsibilities now for the family. Um, you know, going into collections, like a lot of the times it could be financial situations. And another big one is if you are seeing someone or you're in a relationship or dating someone that's of another culture or something like that, and like the family of that person doesn't agree with the relationship, and then like so you can't be with them anymore. So and this is the type of thing like that will happen, and suddenly you'll lose your job, and suddenly, because what happens is, since the soul is breaking down at an extreme rate, when one traumatic event occurs, it keeps breaking down, because of that negative emotional state that the person's being put in. It causes that person to continue thinking in that negative pattern, and for the purpose of just breaking down all the karma so that the person could have a clean slate and start over. But I mean, it's a traumatic experience itself. So it's like, yeah, it sounds all cute, like, oh, I get a clean slate, but I mean the experience is rough, to be completely honest. So that's why I'm making this video, to kind of explain like the best ways of overcoming these type of circumstances. And it's important to overcome it, because usually what happens if the person doesn't overcome these circumstances, they usually can go a little cuckoo, if you know what I'm saying. Like they can kind of lose their mind a little bit, because what happens is during these extreme experiences, it actually overactivates a portion of the brain while somehow underactivating that same part of the brain. So it's like, physically speaking, the person is at a standstill, but the mind is very, very overactivated, and this is what causes that disruption, because it's at two different extremes, and you have to force yourself to sacrifice and just sit within it and feel it and experience it and overcome it. And it's just a very disruptive period in somebody's life that they will have to face. But after overcoming it, it can be very, very beneficial to the person, because they extract a lot of wisdom from it, and they also see things from a completely different perspective. Like the mind just completely expands, because you're like killing off a lot of past learning that other people have been holding on to. And so with that being said, I'm going to explain ways to overcome this type of trauma. So the best ways to overcome it would be, the first thing is to make sure to be alone for a certain amount of time, whatever feels, I guess, comfortable for you, without being overly comfortable. Like, you know, just like kind of like, you don't want to overdo it and like force yourself not to be around people. You still need to be in isolation. It's very important, because people's energies will influence you a lot more easier than maybe how you were before you were undergoing that spiritual breakdown, because the soul and spirit is at a vulnerable state. So that allows for other people to subconsciously manipulate the person's intentions and motives, and their actions in general. So it's best to be alone. It's best to really seek within. So just, you know, one of the best things to do is actually to start listening to the binaural beats, like specific frequencies that are connected to the chakra system. 432 is one of the most popular ones. I think there's 396. I don't have them all memorized. There's 639. I think that's the heart chakras that's connected to, but there's various of ones. 417 helps with a lot of like if you're experiencing a lot of pain, whether it be emotional or mental pain, and whether it be like even physical pain. 417 hertz. And also, this can help with the self-undoing process to help to transform the subconscious mind. So again, that's 417 hertz. But there's, I mean, you could look it up. I might actually just put it in the description, but it's just like there's different frequencies that you can listen to that can help you that can help heal you by putting you in a particular relaxed state in which your body is more able to undergo that healing process. Another thing you may want to do is you may want to change your diet, not too abruptly, because that may disrupt the transformation process a little bit more. But you want to basically be able to the most important thing to do is to just listen to your body. So that's why I say, like, it's important to just be alone at this time when you're experiencing a spiritual breakdown or the dark night of the soul, spiritual depression, however you want to call it. It's important to be alone because you're trying to silence your environment so you can actually hear yourself. And when I say hear yourself, I mean you could feel your body for how it really feels, how your body is always communicating these messages to you. We ignore it because we're constantly working, we're constantly doing something, we're constantly around other people's whose energy begins to disrupt our own energies. So that's why it's important to kind of be by yourself and just listen to your own body's communication and kind of start to comfort that, or they kind of start to hear those messages and just like react appropriately. Like, you know, if you start to feel like some sort of chest pain, then it's like, you know, that something is going on with your own self-love. And, you know, on a spiritual level, on a more physical level, you may need to go to the doctor. I don't know, but I'm just saying, these deep pains that we can feel within our body, it's giving us information so that we can actually transform ourselves. So that's why it's very important to be alone, so that we can hear these messages being conveyed out to us, and then we can react appropriately. So that's one of the main things when it comes to overcoming these things. Another thing you could do is maybe find other people who are going through it too. I don't know if you could do that online or something like that. But even when I was going through it, I was watching videos like what I'm doing. That's why I'm inspired to do this video right now, because I remember I watched videos that other people did to help me, you know, kind of, and it wasn't really so much to like help me in terms of what I should do. It was just consoling to know, like, oh shit, there's other people who kind of went through a similar situation. So yeah, that's another thing too, is like, this is the internet age, you know what I'm saying? Like, start to look at, you know, things on Instagram and things on YouTube and things on Facebook that have to do with your spiritual path, your spiritual journey, so that you can feel a sense of comfort and ease knowing that there's other people, maybe at a distance, and maybe people that are right by you that are undergoing a similar situation, or maybe they have already previously undergone a situation like that. You know what I'm saying? So that's another big thing to do. It's important to just clean out your energy. Throw things away that you no longer need. Just throw it out. Don't think twice about it. If you haven't used it in a month, throw it out. Try to throw it out. You know what I'm saying? Try to let go of these things that you no longer need, because everything is energy. And when we have these items are starting to become, these items have other spirits attached to it. And sometimes it's time to let go some of these spirits so that we can start to evolve. You know what I'm saying? It's like your body's trying to undergo a transformation process. You know, you were a caterpillar, you're trying to become a butterfly, however type of metaphor you want to understand it by. It's a process that is better off just going through and transforming, rather than getting stuck in the middle of the transformative process and then you go cuckoo. because like you're stuck between like two dimensions and two, like, you know, you don't want to. I'm just saying, like, so my thing is, if anybody has any like concerns about this type of process, you know, you can contact me, or I guess like I'm pretty much gonna start doing readings. I'll probably have them available on my Etsy website within the next week or so, but so I can help anybody that's undergoing this type of transformative process. But just know that there's always resources out there for you, and you don't have to feel lonely despite the fact that you should be lonely. AKA, you can be alone, but you could feel like you belong to something. You can feel like a sense of consolation through knowing that there's other people going through similar experiences, and there's always people out there to help you. So that's pretty much what I have to say about this video. If you have any questions or anything, comment, feel free to ask. Thank you for watching. Blessings, light, and love to everybody.